Turn it up, 5 on music.
Right, still again.
In today's video, we're going to be speaking about Sh60ter from the Rollin 60s. We're going to break down all his court cases and more, but let's dive right into it. And for those of you that don't know who Sh60ter is, he would be one of the main faces out of the Rollin 60s, and he would also be a rapper out that section. But let's dive right into his first adult case. And his first adult arrest would happen on June 7th of 2016 at the age of 19. And he would be arrested and charged with 1 count of shooting at an inhabited dwelling or a vehicle, and 1 count of willfully discharging a firearm in a negligent manner. But as you can see to the right, the offense date would be June 1st of 2016, which would be 6 days before he was arrested. He was then held with no bail for the next 7 months, but on January 25th of 2017, he would take a plea deal, and he would have the 2 counts reduced to unlawful firearm activity. And on that same exact day, they would give him 6 years in state prison. As you can see, 3 years for the actual crime, and then 3 years for gang enhancements. And as you can see in the total credits or time served, he would have 466 days. So with the total credit, he would only have to do a little under 5 years. But after sitting down for about 3 years, he would parole in 2020. But just a few months after his release, he would catch another case while he was on parole. And he was arrested on September 20th of 2020. And he would be arrested and charged for 1 count of possession of a firearm by a felon and 1 count of unlawful firearm activity. And like we said, at this time he was on parole. So on September 28th of 2020, they would hit him with a parole violation. But after a couple of weeks, they would allow him to bail out for $35,000. But just 1 week after bailing out, he would be arrested again on October 30th of 2020. And he would be arrested and charged again for 1 count of felon in possession of a firearm and 1 count of carrying a loaded firearm in public. And as you can see to the right, the offense date would be the same, October 30th of 2020. He would then have to sit in the county jail for about a week, but then he would bail out for $60,000. And don't forget, he just bailed out for $35,000 on the other case. So now at this time, he was fighting 2 gun cases while on parole, and technically being out on a $95,000 bail. And while being out on that $95,000 bail, he would take a plea deal on both cases, but we're going to start off with the first one. That would happen on September 20th of 2020. And he would take the plea deal on November 2nd of 2021. And he would plead no contest to both counts on this case. In the next gun case that happened on October 30th of 2020, he would take a plea deal. He would take his plea deal on November 2nd of 2021, which would be the same exact day as the other one. And he would plead no contest to both these counts also. And for the first gun case and plea deal, they would give him 341 days in the LA County Jail, but he would already have time served. And the same thing for the second gun case. They would give him 341 days in the LA County Jail, but he would have that time served, and this would be concurrent. So on that day of November 2nd of 2021, he would be a free man. He would then stay out of trouble for about 1.5 years, but on August 10th of 2022, he would be arrested again. But this time, he would be arrested for 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon that wasn't a firearm on a police officer. He would also be arrested for 1 count of evading police. But as you can see to the right, the offense date would be on August 3rd of 2022, which he wouldn't be arrested until 7 days later. Like we said, he was arrested on August 10th of 2022. He would then have to sit in the county jail for a couple of months, but on October 26th of 2022, he would bail out for $200,000 on this case. And just 2 months after bailing out for $200,000, Sh60ter would catch another case, and he was arrested on December 1st of 2022. And this time he was arrested for felon in possession of a firearm again. And a few weeks later, he would bail out for $155,000 on this case. So in total, he would be out on a $355,000 bail. So now at this point, he was back to fighting 2 cases at the same time. But on September 20th of 2023, he would take a plea deal, and he would plead no contest to the felon in possession of a firearm. And for this case, they would give him 2 years in state prison. But as you can see at the bottom, he would have 681 total credit days. So he would only technically get 2 months. He would then sit for the next 2 years, fighting the assault with a deadly weapon on an officer. But on August 27th of 2025, he would take a plea deal on both counts, and he would plead no contest. And for count 1, which was assault with a deadly weapon on an officer, they would give him 4 years in state prison. But as you can see at the bottom, he would have 2,192 days of total credit, which would be a little over 6 years. And for count 2, which would be evading police, they would give him 8 months in state prison to run consecutive. But like we just said, he has 6 years worth of total credit. So technically on that day, he was a free man again. And some of you may see people like Tunchi5 and others saying welcome home to Sh60ter. But that right there is going to wrap it up for the story of Sh60ter from the Rollin 60s. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. But comment, like, and subscribe. It's Respectable Rants.